Hey minions, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and on this episode of Action Awareness, I want to talk about Dynamite Surprise of the Cowboys. I have been waiting for a card like this for several expansions, a special card with two different triggers. This is not the same as a bop, which can be played in phase 2 or before base scores. These are two unique triggers where the card can only be played when one of the triggers is met. Dynamite Surprise has the same effect in either case, but its different triggers make it versatile to play and offers an interesting choice. In either case, Dynamite Surprise will destroy a minion of power 4 or less. The first trigger functions like a blitzing sword attack, substituting a minion for the Titan requirement. When you are not winning on a base, you can play this card to destroy a minion of power 4 or less there. That might be enough to overtake a player if the base is contested enough. The second trigger really plays up to the surprise in the card's name. This one is a bit complicated to explain as the behavior changes based on where the card is. If Dynamite Surprise is in your hand, you can play it whenever another player's card looks at your hand or reveals a card in your hand, as well as revealing a card in your deck. If Dynamite Surprise is the card revealed in your deck, like the card flipped by Mass Enchantment, then the card can be played immediately since you know if the card was revealed. However, if it were looked at by another player and you couldn't see it at the same time, then the card cannot be invoked. This is a fun card sure to generate a lot of laughter. But why is it a cowboy card? It doesn't really fit into their dueling strategy. I suspect it is because someone needed to have this ability to provide a risk to playing the Vikings, who excel at looking at another player's deck and can look at your hand as well. Thematically, this doesn't seem to fit in with the ancient Egyptians or samurai, so the Cowboys got the card. Despite the deterrent to Vikings, and especially against spies, the majority of factions will not trigger the second condition, so the before base scores version will be the more common. And I like that the card is easier to use than Blitzing Sword Attack for the same effect. I'm somewhat concerned that Dynamite Surprise is hurt by timing, however. It would likely not be played on the Sheriff's base since cards in play have their specials resolved first, and the Sheriff's ability would hopefully put you in the lead. Dynamite Surprise, except in really rare scenarios, cannot be used to break a base by yourself. It would take a really bizarre set of circumstances for that to happen. However, it's interesting that, like Blitzing Sword Attack, although you cannot be winning, you do not have to target the winner. If you can, and that knocks you into first place, great. Alternatively, you could attack a completely different player, perhaps someone trying to get a cheap third place with only one small minion. The chance to deny a player points is always great. You can also blow up your own minion if the base incentivized destruction and you weren't going to change positions anyway. I really wish there was a way to use this on a ninja base, but since you cannot be winning anyway, this would only slide you into third place potentially. But it does make for a great play on a base like Rhodes Plaza Mall, where you didn't care about power, but you did care about minion quantity. Because of the Deputy and their dueling cards, the Cowboys are the type of faction that will likely win bases they break on their turn, so Dynamite Surprise is a solid backup plan for keeping in contention outside of your turn. It's best not to rely on it on your turn since there are other ways to manipulate your power. When combined with other special heavy factions, Dynamite Surprise can create some great power swings. This is the type of action you should play first before playing other specials, since they don't have the same must-be losing limitation. While this would conflict with cards like Walking Carpet, it would excel with the spy cards who can destroy more minions or take control of them. If you can combine it with Blitzing Sword Attack, you can destroy two powerful minions at the last second and irritate your opponents immensely as a large lead is overtaken. Looking back at the second trigger again, it's worth asking whether or not it's better to save the card for a last-minute play or use it now. The same minion would be destroyed either way, but it's a question of whether or not when that minion gets destroyed matters. For some engine cards, like Whiskers, getting them off the board when they are on a separate base is highly desirable. But it also depends on whether or not you want your opponent to be breaking a base on their turn or yours. If the base is already within scoring range, destroying the minion on a card reveal could stop it from scoring and allow you to break it on your turn. However, this would mean you have to commit more resources to breaking the base, and I often say that winning a base on someone else's turn, particularly when they have to commit resources for you, is the best outcome. I think it comes down to how much of a lead you need to overcome. If minion destruction will not be enough to swing a base, and it's one where the distribution really matters, then destroying the minion to block the scoring might be wise. But when you get the same outcome during Phase 3, it's better to destroy it then and not give them the information that the card is out of play. As its name suggests, it's a Dynamite Surprise, and using the card during Phase 2, while useful, takes away the threat from having to encounter it when it matters most. This makes choosing which trigger to pursue an interesting choice, even if the second option only matters against specific factions. This is a concept I'd like to see explored more in Smash Up, and hopefully it's not a unique card. The idea of having two opportunities to use a card creates a lot of decisions for the game, and that's a good problem to have. Don't let the rarity of the second trigger dissuade you from the opportunities this card creates. At worst, it's a better form of blitzing sword attack, and at best, it's a card where timing is everything. What do you think about the idea of having two special triggers on a card? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.